Good afternoon. Welcome to EduSat Network. Friend, as you know, we are discussing sociological thinker, and in a series of lectures on sociological thinker, today we are going to discuss Emile Durkheim, and we will talk about precisely his methodology and contribution to sociology. And for discussion on this very topic, we have in the studio Professor Vivek Kumar. He is teaching sociology at the Center for the Study of Social System in a School of Social Sciences at Jawaharlal Nehru Vishwavidyalaya. So on your behalf, and our Dr. Vivek Kumar is also Fulbright fellowship. He will teach in Columbia University. So I hope his knowledge and experience will help us to understand this sociological thinker Durkheim in a new perspective. So on your behalf, I welcome Dr. Vivek Kumar for EduSat lecture. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Friends, today, as Amrenji has already told you, that we will discuss sociological thinker, one of the founding fathers of sociology of the world, that he is Emile Durkheim. And as you know, that Emile Durkheim was a French scholar, and he was born in 1858, 15th April 1858, and he passed away in 1917. That means he, in a very small span of time, he contributed a large thing. But his prime motive was to establish sociology as an independent discipline, and a discipline of social science, of course, but he wanted to make it science, and that way he is also considered as positivist. His major contribution are four, basically. The first one is Division of Labor, which he wrote in 1893, and by publishing Rules of Sociological Method 1895, Durkheim wanted to develop sociology as an independent social science. We will discuss it later. Durkheim's seminal monograph, that is Suicide, it was published in 1897, a study of suicide rates, not suicide in general, but suicide rates. We have to be very careful when we understand his suicide, that is sociological suicide rates among the Catholics and Protestants population, and this was a research which basically distinguished psychological fact and sociological facts, and he wanted to prove that suicide is a social fact, not a psychological fact. Now, if you see the third work of Durkheim, that is Rules of Sociological Method, and after that Suicide, the fourth work of Durkheim is the Elementary Forms of Religious Life, and this was published in 1912, and he presented the theory of religion, comparing socio-cultural lives of Aboriginal and modern societies. Now, further he established reputation, and Durkheim not only wrote books to establish sociology as an independent social science, but he also established institutions. We will go back to and see actually what he established as an independent discipline. First of all, he went and established a department of sociology in Bordeaux University in 1895, and also brought out a journal that is Année Sociologique in 1896. That means he not only wrote books, he did not only do research, but he also established institutions. One institution, as you can see on your monitor board, it is basically University of Bordeaux 1895, and then journal. Journal basically help us to understand. Now from here, when we move to understand Durkheim as a sociological thinker, we need to see his influences, because influences are very, very important, friends. A fundamental influence of Durkheim's thought basically was sociological positivism of Auguste Comte. As you all know, Auguste Comte is considered to be father of sociology. As you can see on your monitor, Auguste Comte effectively sought to extend sociological method of natural sciences to social sciences. And according to Comte, a true social science should stress empirical. Earlier, what was happening, that people were talking about ideas. They were trying to build sociological arguments, sociological facts on the basis of ideas. It was Auguste Comte who was trying to argue that no, we have to understand empirical realities. We have to go and research with scientific laws. Just like sciences do their studies by facts and observations, we have to also study social facts and sociological facts and sociological understanding. This was one of the major influences on Durkheim, though he differed basically. Now, Durkheim on his part agreed Comte on many points. First, he accepted the study of society was to be founded on the examination of fact. Second, like Comte, he acknowledged that the only valid guide to objective knowledge was the scientific method. The third, he agreed with Comte that the social sciences could become scientific only when they are stripped of metaphysical abstraction and philosophical speculation. And at the same time, Durkheim also believed that the Comte was still too philosophical in his outlook. Now, the second influence of on Durkheim's view of society was his positivism. And now, positivism was the epistemological outlook of realism, although he never explicitly exposed it. Now, friends, we have to understand positivism. What does positivism argue, and as a methodology, how positivism influences, and why did positivism was there in social sciences? Friends, as you all know that social sciences have emerged out of a revolution which is known as scientific revolution, and sciences emerged out of philosophy. So philosophy is considered to be mother of all sciences, and from sciences have emerged social sciences. Now, if you see, the method of science is nothing but observation, objectivity, and then that observation can be actually made into data, and after that analysis can be made. But philosophy used to have an idea. That means you have to comprehend in your mind, and out of that comprehension you can write anything. You cannot go for experimentation, you cannot go for observation in the lab, but you have to think of mind. Now, it is in this context I think positivism had an influence of natural sciences. Natural sciences had employed the different method, different approach to study society and social reality. In that context, positivism was transferred to social sciences when sciences were born. Social sciences were born, and Auguste Comte, as you all know, considered to be father of sociology, was influenced in the French tradition, and that influence was passed to Durkheim. Now, Durkheim did not wholeheartedly take the advantage of Auguste Comte, but he also mixed his own methodology. Let us see a little bit of his own methodology. The first and the foremost part of basically his methodology or Durkheim adopted was realist perspective in order to demonstrate the existence of social realities outside the individual. Earlier, the realities was considered to be based inside the mind of the people, and it is in this context we see, you can see on your monitor that how individual perception of them is there. Now, the view was opposed to predominant philosophical tradition, which was Empiricism and Empiricism as given by David Hume. And David Hume had argued that all realities in the outside world are the product of human sense. They are not basically produced by experimentation. Now, Comte's positivists went a step further by claiming that scientific laws could be deduced from empirical observation. Now, this realism and empiricism can be sought to influence Auguste Comte. Now, if we move a little bit ahead, the methodology of Durkheim. Now, this methodology of Durkheim draws heavily also on another element, which is usually considered to be functionalist in nature, and I have argued that how Durkheim tries to construct the social reality, and it is here, friends, he draws heavily on organic analogy. Organic analogy, if you see, is another major aspect of, rather you can say, Durkheim's sociology or social reality. Now, Durkheim argues that the methodology of organic analogy, in the sense that organic analogy comes to fore when actually he writes rules of sociological method. He tries to compare society. He also tries to argue about normal and pathological social facts. So it is in this context, I think, organic analogy can be viewed as a system. Actually, organic analogy views society as a system. Now, in this system, there are different parts. Just like organic analogy draws heavily from the human body. A human body is composed of different elements. Now, these elements, the different organs. Now, what are these organs? These organs, just like heart, lung, inside you have kidney, you have also spleen, you have a stomach. All these parts, they play a very different role, and yet they contribute into the maintenance of the body of the individual. Similarly, he argued that society is made up of different organs and different institutions. And we can see different institutions, like family is one institution, like religion is another institution. All these institutions play a dominant role in the maintenance of society, which is considered as a whole. So, organic analogy begins observing society as a system which is composed of different parts, and these parts can be only understood in the proper interconnectedness and interdependentness. So, they contribute in a manner, and that is the function of each part. Similarly, society has different parts, and this is what, when Durkheim is trying to construct his methodology to understand society, he also takes this organic analogy into consideration. Now, another aspect of Durkheim's methodology is idealism. Now, what exactly do you mean by idealism? And Durkheim asks that ideas are always present in the society. Ideas precede sciences. That means people have been making sense of this world. People have understood the environment in their own way, and these ideas have not gone, they still persist. And that is why, friends, if you see idealism, he brings in, let us see how rules of sociological method he constructs. You can see on your network, that what is basically idealism is taking place. Now, idealism is used in rules of sociological method in big way. Now, he gives an example that how ideas are is still very important in this era, and he says that long back we have come to know that suns never sets, sun never rises, but still there is an idea among the people that sun rises and sun sets. This is not at all correct, because scientifically it has been proved that science never sets, sun never sets, and sun never rises. Therefore, friends, we have to be very careful when we construct the idea of social reality. When we want to understand society, we have to see how these ideas enter into our mind and they start playing as scientific in nature. They are not, and that is why Durkheim says that no, we have to do away with these ideas. So he also thinks that ideas are there in the society, they very much exist, and we have to do away with that if we want to make sociology a science of the society. Now it is here that, friends, he enters and writes the book Rules of Sociological Method. Now, rules of sociological method have a five-fold aim. What are these aims? For the first time, he wanted to establish sociology as an independent discipline. This was the first and the foremost objective of writing Rules of Sociological Method. The second aim was to establish a specific domain of reality which is not studied by any other subject. It is only sociology which can study these elements. Now, to establish a specific domain of the reality is the second. The third element is basically giving legitimacy to organic analogy. He wanted to argue that without organic analogy, in the beginning, sociology cannot establish a scientific subject matter, and therefore you have to give legitimacy. And the fourth, the possibility that there is a possibility of specific scientific knowledge of the social order. It is not necessary that you cannot have, there is basically demonstration, both the possibility and the necessity of a specific scientific of social order. Now, friends, let us come to the first element of his. What is a social fact? The whole argument of Durkheim rests on this particular idea. What is a social fact? And a social fact is every way of acting, fixed or not, capable of exercising on the individual an external constraint, or again, every way of acting which is general throughout a given society, while at the same time it is existing own right independent of the individual manifestation. Now, if you see the four elements or three elements are very, very clear, that Durkheim is trying to argue that social facts, basically he is trying to evolve the subject matter of sociology. What is the subject matter of sociology? Because I have told you in the very beginning that his aim was to develop sociology as an independent social science discipline or disciplines of a science. So, for that he wanted to develop a subject matter. Now, how do you develop a subject matter? because there were other disciplines who were studying. So he said that no, the subject matter of the sociology is social fact. So the sociology is nothing but the study of a social fact. And what are these social facts? Social facts are nothing but ways of acting, thinking and believing. They are not fixed, fine. Now, there are four elements of four characteristics of social fact as well. They are external to individual. This is the first element, characteristics of social fact. They are external to the individual. That means individuals have not created, they were there before the individuals arrived, and they will remain there after the individual is dead. That means social facts assume an independent character of the individuals. That means individuals do not create. It is the collectivity, it is the group, it is the society which creates social fact. And it is here, friends, social facts differ from psychological facts and biological facts. Psychological facts are based on individuals' will. So whatever you want you can do, and therefore you can be called as individual. As an individual you can create, you can destroy, you can think, you can actually the other moment you can change your mind. But sociologically, social facts cannot be changed by individual will. They can only be changed by collective will. And that is why he argues that social facts are suicide is a social fact. Usually before Durkheim, people talked about suicide as a psychological fact, but he says that no, there is not a type of suicide. And in his book Suicide, he gives this example that how social facts are basically not suicide is not a social fact. It is basically suicide is a social fact and not a psychological fact. Now, if you see, he is talking about here again, I will like to caution you that he is not talking about individual cases of suicide as a social fact. Individual cases of suicide may be a psychological fact, but when we study society, we see that there are number of cases of suicide. So the suicide, number of cases of suicide in a society, when we look into, we come to realize that they are basically social fact. How? Now it is here, friends, we study three types of suicides: egoistic suicide, altruistic suicide and anomic suicide. Now if we see egoistic suicide, Durkheim very well talks about that this suicide takes place because of lack of integration of individual in the group. That means individual is not integrated into the social group. He is independent, he acts independently, and therefore he is not able to integrate. And as soon as the individuals, the societogenic impulses, they overpower individual, commit suicides. Now there is altruistic suicide. Altruistic suicide, according to Durkheim, takes place because of over integration into the group. And he gives example of a ship watership journal, dying in the sinking ship. The general, the commander of the ship, doesn't want to leave the ship even though he knows that the ship is going to sink. And why, friends? This is because he is too much integrated into the group that is basically ship. The second example is also given by Sati. In Indian society, we have seen in the past, Indian women used to put themselves on the funeral pyre of their husbands when their husbands used to die. They used to burn themselves on the funeral pyre of their husbands. Now, why this happen? And this can happen only when the individual is too much involved in the group, integrated in the group. His independent existence has no value. He lives by the group, and that has been the characteristics of traditional society, because individuals do not have an independent existence. They are part of a larger whole, and therefore, friends, I think we have to understand that the another element of suicide, which is altruistic suicide, given by Durkheim, dependent upon over integration. The third element, the third type of suicide which Durkheim talks about, and I want to prove the characteristics of social fact that is external to the individual. Here it is basically the anomic suicide. Now, anomic suicide takes place because there is normlessness. The old norms have yet not gone, and new norms have not yet taken. Therefore, we see that there is a situation is of normlessness, and individual is not able to understand how and where to follow, which rule to follow, and therefore he commits suicide. So we have, friend, social fact as one of the basic contribution to understand the subject matter of sociology by Durkheim, and we are trying to understand the first element of social fact, and this is basically external to individual. That means individuals, though important, but they do not create social fact individually. Rather, when they come together collectively, they create social fact. The second element of social fact, according to Durkheim, is they are coercive in nature. That means they are coercive in the nature, in the sense that if you don't follow them, then there will be a restriction, there will be a ridicule, there will be some exclusion which you will suffer. For instance, or you may not be even able to participate in the proper life. For instance, currency is one which creates coercion on you. Official currency of India is a rupee, but if you want to come and give dollars to a shopkeeper, he will not take it, because currency, dollars though are important currency of US, but they are not important currency of India, and therefore people may not take dollars. Even if they take, they will have lot of ambition, and you face lot of problem, and if police sees you, they may also catch you. So basically they are coercive in nature, and you have to abide by the rule and regulation of the society. And if you don't abide by. That means if you don't abide by, then definitely you will face a ridicule. You may also be put behind the bars. So, social facts are basically related to time and context, and therefore they become coercive. Now, coercive in nature, that means you have to follow rules of that society, rules of those time. If you don't follow, then definitely they will have their own repercussion. Otherwise, they are silent. They are silent usually. If you don't break the rule, you will not be able to come to know that rules are there. But if you break a rule, then all of a sudden the silent rule starts speaking, and the coercion, the type of coercion may range from laugh, you can become a laughing stock, you may be ridiculed by your peer group, you may also be punished, you may be put behind the bars. So the span of coercion is very large, from simple laughing stock, ridicule, to putting you behind the bars. This is what is coercive power of a social fact. Now, let me come to the third characteristics of social fact. And this, friend, is they are general in nature. Social facts are general in nature. That means they are found in every part of the society. They are present in every group of the society. They are not specific to A or B, and therefore they are general in nature. They may be found everywhere in the society of that time. If a society is basically small society, then definitely they will be found there, and if they are big society, modern complex society, they will be having a different type of social milieu. Now, it is in this sense, friends, the social facts which form the basic subject matter of sociology. According to according to Durkheim, they are basically having three characteristics. They are external to individual, they are coercive, and they are general. Now, another element of social facts which can be given to you is basically they are opaque. It is very difficult that you can look beyond them, and it is here, friends, that you have to recognize that how and where and which group it is happening, and therefore it is very difficult to look through them. You have only to identify. Now, having stated social facts as one of the basic characteristic of sociology of Durkheim, we can understand that Durkheim wanted to establish sociology as independent science, and for that what he did, he chose to create a subject matter, and this subject matter was social fact. Now, how he is trying to define social fact? He is trying to define social fact simply that any way of acting, believing, thinking in the society, which is basically external to individual, which is coercive, and which is general. So, it is very simple that we can understand social fact as those institutions, as those actually criteria, as those phenomena which can create some problem for you, which can facilitate your understanding. Now, from here, friend, if we move a little bit more and we can understand social fact, that they are related to time and context. What is social fact? What is true? What is functional for the society now may not be true, may not be functional, say 10 years from now. Also, what is true for one society, what is good for one society, may not be good for another society, may not be also good for another time, another period, or maybe another place. I'll give you an example to make this point clear, that how social facts are related to time and context. You see what happens that if you kill a person, if an army personnel kills enemy at the border, at Jammu Kashmir border, at China border, at Afghanistan border, at Bangladesh border, Sri Lanka border, if somebody kills, some army person kills another person from the other side, you can call him as enemy. When he kills an enemy, that person is basically awarded or rewarded. He will be given a medal. But if the same person comes and kills someone in the society, then what will happen? He will be punished according to Indian Penal Code. So, social facts are related to space, that is place. Similarly, if you see in Western society, people greet each other by kissing. But in our society, we greet each other with namaste, with adab, or we say good morning, come, something like that in our own language. If you are in Tamil Nadu, they will say vanakkam. If you are actually in Maharashtra, they will say their own language. So our way of greeting is namaskar, vanakkam, sat sri akal, or adab. But their way of greeting is actually by kissing and shaking hands. So there is basically social facts are different for different places. Now let us say also social facts are different for different times. Now if you see, once upon a time, sati used to be very prevalent in Indian society, and those women who committed sati, they were considered to be as goddesses. But now sati has been banned because it is considered as inhuman. Similarly, if you take Western society, at that time, gay and lesbianism used to be in many societies, it was a punishable offense, but now slowly and slowly actually they are getting acceptance. That means time is passing away. Similarly, we have heard just now example of calf panchayats, how actually people are punishing. So still it is not accepted. So what is happening is that the social facts are related to time and space. I gave you example of place, I gave you example of time as well. So in this sense, we see when we want to understand society, we want to understand social action, when we want to understand the social order, we have to see the basic unit, and basic unit here for Durkheim is social fact. And any social fact, any way of thinking, believing in acting, which is coercive, which is basically external to individual, and which is general. Now from here, when we see how Durkheim sees society with another social fact, and this is the fact of division of labor. For Durkheim, division of labor, another book, very important book, which is considered to be his PhD thesis, which was published basically later on. But here he was trying to argue that how division of labor is a social fact. And for this, friends, Durkheim divided the society into simple society and into modern complex society. Now, when we see division of labor, according to Durkheim, David Emile Durkheim, his full name was. Now he says that division of labor in simple societies, you can think of tribal society is a simple society. Even village society, the old village society can also be considered as simple society. Now in simple societies, if we see, in simple societies, division of labor is based on age and it is based on gender. That means the younger persons, the middle-aged persons, the young people, the old people, the women, all these are basic criteria to define basically the social fact of division of labor. So how does division of labor is decided in a simple society? It is decided not on the skills of the people, not on the qualification of the people. It is decided on the merit of their age, on the merit of their gender. So what happens that small kids will not work, the young people will go and collect wood, they will go also for hunting, they may also bring actually anything which is suitable for the clan or which is suitable for the tribe, which is suitable for the whole group, family. The old age people will look after their vicinity of the house, they may also do knitting or they may also do something. But women, as far as gender is concerned, women will cook, they may go for fodder, they may bring water, and in this manner division of labor in the society is based on age and gender. So women will cook, they will bring water, they will bring fodder, and the young people will go for hunt, they will bring actually food material, and the elderly may weave or do something else. This is modern, this is simple society, tribal society, or maybe village society, in which division of labor is based on age and sex, gender. But on the other hand, division of labor in the modern complex society, modern society, where lot of technology is there, where there is industry is there, lot of division of labor is based on a specific qualification. It is not based on age, it is not based on gender. It is based on their specific qualification, and therefore there is multiplication of jobs. There is no one type of job, there are multiplication. For example, if health worker is there, the job of a doctor, so there may be general practitioner, there may be cardiologists. General practitioner can give you every type of medicine for your cough and cold, but there are cardiologists. Cardiologists will look after your heart. There are pediatricians who will only look to children. There are ophthalmologists, those who will go for eye checkup. There are urologists, urologists, those who will look out your kidney and others. So the specialization in modern complex society is as such that division of labor is very, very complex. In simple society, the division labor is based on age and sex, and therefore it is very simple. But in modern complex society, because division of labor is complex, therefore actually they have to be based on very, very different qualities. Now, because of these two types of division of labor, in these two types of society, according to Durkheim, there are two types of solidarities. The two types of solidarities, two types of societies, two types of division of labor, and therefore there are two types of solidarities. One type of solidarity in simple society, in the simple society where the division of labor is based on age and gender, there is mechanical solidarity. You will be very perplexed, where actually there is no machine, you are talking about mechanical solidarity. Mechanical solidarity, according to Durkheim, is not because of machine, but because of similarity. That means there is similarity among the people, similarity among the occupations, there is similarity among the values governing the people, and therefore the society is mechanical because a machine produces similar product. A machine, if suppose a machine is producing bottle, one bottle, drinking bottle, he will produce, that machine will produce similar bottles throughout his production life, and therefore the similarity of the product produced by machine is called as mechanical production. Therefore, actually Durkheim draws one analogy, and this analogy is that production of some product from the machine is similar. Similarly, production of solidarity produced by similarity of society is called as mechanical solidarity. There is another type of solidarity, and this type of solidarity in the complex society, based on complex division of labor, and this is known as organic solidarity. Organic solidarity, he draws it from organic analogy. I told you in the beginning that one of the basic methodology of Durkheim is also organic analogy, and he draws organic analogy, he draws from organic analogy that how this body is in equilibrium, because there is a solidarity in the body, there is equilibrium in the body. Similarly, society also has equilibrium. Society has a solidarity, unity. What is that, and how that unity is produced? Why? Because, friends, as in the body there are different organs. These organs are of different shape and size. These organs have different functions. They contribute differently in the making of the whole, but yet they maintain the whole body. Any organ stops functioning in the body, what will happen? There will be a problem in the body. Body will not be in good shape. It will be diseased. Similarly, there is a society. Society is composed of different organs. Just like body is composed of different organs, there is heart, there is lung, there is kidney, there is stomach, esophagus, there is actually testes, everything are there, and they are contributing into the maintenance of the body. Similarly, there are organs of the society. I told family is organ of the society. Family contributes into the socialization process. In the occupation, in the production system, it used to early produce it. In consumption unit. So the organs, the organization of the society, institution of the society, they are organs of the society. Now these organs contribute. Similarly, we see that the organic analogy, solidarity, which is produced in the society, is just like different groups contribute into the maintenance. I would like to take another example to make this point clear, that how organic analogy creates solidarity. Now, Indian society, I'll give you example from the Indian society to prove how different organs of the body they contribute in maintenance of the society body, and how different organs of the society they contribute into the maintenance of solidarity of a society. For example, in Indian society, we have seen that there are different groups. There are different religious groups. There are Hindus, there are Muslims, there are Christians, there are Sikhs, there are Buddhists, there are Jains, there are Zoroastrians, and there are Baha'is. They are different religious groups. But when it comes to India as a nation, they are contributing into the maintenance of this country. They are different, and yet they are contributing into the maintenance. Now you can see the Sikhs production in Punjab is very, very great. They grow wheat. Even a small community like Parsis, Tatars, they contribute in the economy, the labor of the society. There are different linguistic groups in India. According to W.G. Grayson, there are 1070 speaking language mother tongues in the country, but they all contribute. So we call it as unity in diversity. We are diverse, we are different, and yet we contribute. Similarly, this analogy which Durkheim was talking about, the different organs of the body, they contribute into the maintenance of this body. If heart says that I am on strike, what will happen? But heart doesn't say that I am on strike. Heart keeps on contributing into the maintenance. His heart keeps on pumping the blood. Similarly, the different groups in the society, they contribute. There are nowadays there are so many jobs. There is media person, there is a cameraman, then there is an anchor. They all contribute into a program. Similarly, you can see there is a cricket match going on. Some people make bat, some people make ball, some people are actually only watching, some are commentators. They contribute, but they are all different. So therefore, friends, we have to understand that there are two types of society: simple society, and there are complex societies. In simple society, their division of labor is different, and in modern complex society, division of labor is different. There is different solidarity in mechanical solidarity in simple societies, and there are organic solidarity in modern complex society. And there are two types of laws also, friends, in these two types of societies. The first law in the simple society is repressive law. Repressive law, that if you will take an eye, if you have made a person blind, then definitely you will be also blind. So an eye for eye is the repressive law. If you have killed a person, then you will be also killed. That is the repressive law in the simple society, in the tribal society, and also actually in the villages. Sometimes it happens. But in modern complex society, the laws are restitutive laws. That means if you have committed a crime, then you will be given a chance to rectify yourself. If you can rectify yourself, if you can definitely go by it, go by the rules of the society, if you are refining yourself, then definitely you will be given a chance to refine. It is in this context, friends, that we see that modern complex societies have different penal position. It is not that if somebody has killed, so his life will be taken. No, there are different laws, and these laws have emerged because of collectiveness. Now, it is here that, friend, we say that Durkheim has contributed immensely to understand social order, society, social fact from a very different vantage point. It is here also, he also contributed to understand crime. He says that a crime is that which basically hurts the collective conscience. Any act which hurts the collective conscience will be a crime. It is not that any act which is punished with that is crime. No. He says that actually any act which hurts the collective conscience of the society is basically a crime. A murder is punishable offense, no doubt, but that is punishable offense not because it is crime. It is punishable offense because it hurts the collective conscience of the society. Society somewhere is hurt. The laws of the society are broken and therefore it is punishable offense. So we have to understand the society's phenomena. The society work differently. It is not simple what we see acts. No, there is actually some reality which is beyond our naked eyes and we are not able to see, and that is collective conscience. So in all we see that for Durkheim, society is above the individual. It is the individuals, no doubt, which make the society. But once that society is made, then it assumes a very different character altogether. And the example is that when you are walking individually, you will be walking calm and quiet. But as soon as there are 10 friends, they start walking, you will see how much shout, how much howling they will make, how much noise they will make. And as the student group goes on, the group mentality is different from individual mentality. Similarly, the group mentality, which is society, which is so big a group, that mentality is different. And because that is basically takes a shape away from the individuals, because individual has not created society. And individuals may come and go, but society remains it there, and therefore he calls society as sui generis. Now, therefore, friend, we see that Durkheim throughout his life was successful in making sociology as an independent discipline because he gave a very different subject matter, and that subject matter was social fact. And he dissociated social fact from psychological fact, he dissociated social fact from biological fact, and tried to create that no, we are not going to take ideas only, but we will go and see social fact as things, and we will try to have it as a very observable, as an objective criteria to understand society, social fact, and thereby sociology. So if we see the whole graph of Durkheim's life, so he first of all tried to carve out, he had a very different methodology to understand social fact, and that methodology included organic analysis, idealism, positivism, as well as he included empiricism as one of its tool to understand social reality. And from here he actually talked about social fact, and social fact, after that he talked about suicide as a social fact, division of labor as social fact. He also tried religion as a social fact. So he sees these running thread in the methodology, in the works of Emile Durkheim, who was fighting a battle to get sociology its own independent status as a discipline. I think this is what I have to say. If there are any questions, definitely we can take.
Yeah, we will discuss it, but today we are running short of time, so I think we should conclude the lecture here. And Dr. Vivek Kumar very lucidly and clearly explained the Durkheim's contribution and also methodology, what one should have while reading the Emile Durkheim. So I hope this lecture must have benefited all of you. friends. So I thank all of you for watching the lecture, and on your behalf, I thank Dr. Vivek Kuar for giving such a wonderful and insightful lecture on Emile Durkheim. Thank you very much.
Thank you.